Well, welcome everybody to the next episode of Connect, Inspire, Create. Today, our conversation is going to focus on healing journeys and healing your heart. And part of that focus is going to be on the shadow side of love, why you self-sabotage and how to stop it. And I'm joined by my guest, Junie Moon, CEO of Midlife Love Out Loud. She is a global love mentor, international best-selling author, award-winning speaker, women's empowerment leader, and a certified shadow work coach, which we're going to uncover a little more about that for those that want to know more about shadow work. So Junie has supported thousands of women over the past 30 years to claim what is their birthright, the freedom to be and love themselves without apology. So welcome, Junie. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
That absolutely. So before we dig into all these wonderful topics and ideas, and just as you shared, the importance of love is so much more than just a relationship, important for our more than a business, I should say. It's important for our relationships in our family, homes, businesses across the board. But before we get there, I'd love to ask you some fun things about yourself. So are there three fun
Okay.
things you could
Fun
share with our
things.
audience?
It's just like an open question of something fun.
Whatever comes to mind that you'd like to share
Okay.
about
Well,
yourself.
all right. Well, there's a lot of fun stuff in my world.
That's good.
Well, let's start with since I was a kid, I was an actress and I went into being a professional actress and then I shifted gears when I was 26, but I've always been an actress and I just got into a play because I wanted to have more fun in my life. So I am in a play in New York City in a theater festival. So that's kind of fun.
That is. Congratulations. That sounds
Thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you. And I'm going to Dave Matthews tonight. It's fun. I'm having a summer. I love my business. I love what I do. And I want to have a summer of fun and friends and dancing and lots of stuff. So lots of fun stuff coming up.
That sounds wonderful. And that's a good note for others, that you've got to give yourself a break somewhere in the year. So pick your season. Pick
Yes,
when that
absolutely.
works, but you've got to take some time out. I just did a solo retreat for myself in Florida. I thought I need some ocean time and just took 3 days off with no agenda. And it was so refreshing and so much
Mm.
fun. So it was
So
wonderful.
important, especially when we're running our businesses. We need to have some balance. And I love those days that are unscheduled where I just get to really ask myself, how do I fill up my own cup and what's going to bring me the most joy? Because then I can show up not only for myself and feel great physically, body, mind, and spirit, but to be able to give even more to my clients.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I have one more question for you, and that could be immediate or something in the past. But who has been the kindest to you? Who comes to mind?
Oh my God. Wow. My heart just was like, oh, who has been the kindest? Oh my goodness. Let me just say, I've been so blessed. I've been so blessed with so many kind people, so many loving people in my life. And the first person, and it's a shocker to me, to be really honest, it took a while to be able to get to be able to say this is my mom, because most of my life I was like, oh, she drives me nuts.
Mm.
And she is the most giving, loving, kind person, patient person. And trust me, this was not the way it was years ago. She has changed. I've changed because of the
Right.
work, the shadow work that I've done, because of
Mm.
my healing. We have been able to create something so beautiful. And it's soft, it's gentle, it's loving, and it's certainly kind. Yeah. So I would say my mom.
That's beautiful.
I
Thank you
love
for
these
sharing
questions.
that. Yeah,
Yes, these
thank
are great.
you.
What a great
So
way to kick off the interview.
absolutely. So now we're talking about this shadow side of love and self-sabotage and how to stop it. And we get to talk about your shadow work and the techniques that you use. But why do you think that people do struggle in this when we talk about these healthy relationships and the next level of love? What gets in their way?
Yeah, and that's like the biggest thing I hear people say is I just don't understand. Why do I say these things? Why am I still sabotaging these relationships by behaving in certain ways or attracting a certain type of person into my life? I work with a lot of single women in the second half of life and they're like, everybody looks different, but they end up being the same. It's like, What is that about? And so there are these blind spots. We all have them. We all have them. And even as we do our inner work, more will be revealed as we move forward. And these blind spots come from all the experiences we've had in our past. We've had these full, rich
Mm,
lives with so many different experiences, and everything that's happened in our life has given us information on,
right.
did it feel good? Did it not feel good? Am I safe? Am I not safe? And
Mm,
in the body of shadow work that I've been trained in, we say that there's this part of us called the risk manager. And this part has been online since we were born, and it's watching and learning. And then when it sees that you got hurt or felt scared or felt abandoned or whatever has happened to you, where you witness somebody maybe being aggressive, on some level, this part's going, oh, this is not okay. We need to avoid this like the plague. And it whips up strategies to keep us from feeling like we're not loved, feeling like, we don't matter, feeling like we're going to be alone, any of those things that are like, painful. And what happens then is we then create these shadows, these blind spots that we start acting in certain ways because this part is kind of going, well, we don't want that to happen. So let's just
right.
have her push that guy away, or let's just have her blow up her business, or whatever it is, because
Mm,
somewhere in the unconscious realm, which is 95% of our brain, it's running us. And
right.
so we sabotage the very things we want because of the old programming.
Yeah, I've heard that, the self-sabotaging, and just it's how, detrimental it is because we do it, you explode, and then you think, oh my goodness, it's too late. So, I mean, you talk about women being, or we women being our worst own enemy and sabotaging ourselves. Is there a method? Is there a starting baby step with this self-sabotage that we can move into away from it?
Yeah.
And
Well,
and peel the onion layers, I suppose,
and
maybe.
exactly, that's what it is. I mean, it really is pulling back the curtains, peeling back the onion and kind of getting to the core of what it is. And it does take time. And the first step really is just being aware that something, it doesn't feel good. Like just stop right now. Everybody that's watching and listening, just to stop right now and ask yourself, what's going on in your life that isn't in alignment with how you want to be? What's not working? What has a price that you're paying that doesn't feel good? Whether it's how you treat your body, maybe you're eating foods that you're wanting to get your health back, but you find yourself eating crap. Or maybe you want to call in a partner, which is my specialty, and yet you're not putting yourself out there, or you have a lot of beliefs of all men suck and why bother, or I'm
Mm,
too old, who's going to want me? So start with what's not working. Start with what you want, of course, and
right.
what's not working, and just be aware that something is happening that's creating this reality. And that comes back to what I said before, which is 95% of your brain, all of our brains, is unconscious, and that's where all the stored memory is. And I want to add one more thing just to take some
Mm,
of the shame off of why am I not further down the line, and I've invested all this money in health coaches or love coaches, like therapy. Why isn't it working? And the challenge that I see is that most practitioners, therapists, all the different modalities that are out there, very few go beyond the conscious mind. Most are just like, let's identify what's going on. Oh, your mother was this way, your father was this way. Oh, you had some kind of loss or abuse. And all these things are really important to know,
right.
to notice, to
Hmm.
understand, but that doesn't change what's underneath, which is, oh my God, I don't want to have that pain again. And so we
Right.
so we have to pull back the covers and kind of go, okay, now we understand why we do what we do. Let's do some shadow work. Let's do some healing, and let's get some transformation that actually sticks.
Right. I was just gonna, because the first thing that came to mind when you said is you've got to do the work. You've got to do the work. I mean, it's all very well, as you
Yeah.
said, this awareness in the big picture, and we
Yeah.
can be aware, but then it's that frustration, as you say, because nothing's changing.
Yeah.
But awareness is not enough.
No, but it is important. A lot of people walk around and they are just attached to their stories, attached to their
Right,
beliefs,
right.
and they just like, well, this is the way it is, and it's not going to get any better. And yep, they're absolutely right, because that's their story and they're sticking to it. And for those that are here, because you are offering so many great topics and they're open to learning and growing for your population, it's important to go, okay, well, I've read the books and I've done a lot, and there's more.
Right. There's always more, and you can rewrite the story.
Absolutely.
And I guess that's what
Absolutely.
you're doing to help with working through the shadow work. And so I think we've kind of covered the shadow comes from way back. But we say that all people have this. They can choose whether they want to move in this area and to work on it. Is it always painful, or are there parts of it that, yeah, because some people are going to have
Ah,
fear to want to step into
yeah.
that area.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot there. Okay. Firstly, let me just say that we need to talk about what shadow is first. I'm going to put that
Mm,
aside for a second, but we need to talk
okay,
about what shadow is. But even just the word shadow, it's like, it's in the dark, it's scary.
right,
I don't know what's going on in the
mm,
95% of my unconscious mind. I always say that it's way more scary and uncomfortable and painful to not look at it. What you don't know is running your life.
right.
What you don't know is having you
Mhm.
do things and act in different ways, putting your life force and your energy into your business, into your relationships, into your families. And there's drama, and there are things that just break down. That is friggin' painful. So
Right.
when people say, "Ooh, it sounds really painful and scary," I'm like, it's nowhere near as painful as the life that you're living. So let's just say that right there. And
Okay.
what I will also say is, when we start doing this type of work, people find so much relief. They find more
Mm.
energy, they find more empowerment, they find more confidence and healthy boundaries and the ability to love themselves beyond anything they could have imagined. So when people say, wow, this sounds really scary, I always say it's way more scary to not know the monster under the bed.
Oh my
Look under the
goodness.
friggin' bed and you'll go,
Right.
oh, it's not so scary after
Right.
all.
I must say, Junie, I think that, what you just shared now, to embrace and discover and then unwrap. I mean, even what you shared right in the beginning about the kindness and bringing your mom and saying, we're having uncovered some layers. Look at the gift. Look at the gift
Absolutely. So many
that you have.
gifts, so many gifts. And,
Mm.
for 47 years of my life, I'm 60 now. For 47 years of my life, that woman drove me nuts.
Right.
I mean, I tried to avoid her like the plague. And if it was a holiday, I'm like counting the hours. When do I get out of here? And then I did some of this deep dive work, and it shifted my relationship inside of me to be able to
Right.
see her differently, to
Right.
behave differently, to be a
Mm.
different person. And so let me share what shadow is,
Yes,
because
please.
we're talking about all of this, and it's like, well, what exactly is this? And
Hmm.
how did this happen? So we're talking about blind spots, we're talking about programming. And so yes, most of our beliefs and our foundational shadows, if you will, were created like in the first 7 years of our life. We were sponges back then because we were vulnerable. We needed our parents. We needed to survive. So, if let's just say you took a toy from your sibling, and one of your parents, your mother maybe, was in the room and said, that is very selfish, young lady, with a tone. Well, you don't have the ability as a young child to go, oh, mom's must be having a bad day, or oh, that wasn't so bad. You are just getting the impact of a mad mom. So you're sensing a lack of love, which is terrifying for a child, not consciously, but whoa, and getting a message that you're selfish. That's bad. And if you're selfish, young lady, that's bad. And so we're not making this, we're not connecting the dots as a 3-year old, 5-year old, 10-year old. However, it's going inside of us as information. And so that risk manager says, Being selfish is not okay. And that has a high price to pay. So never take anything from anyone, never ask to get your needs met. You just be a nice little girl and take care of everybody else. So what did we do? We had an experience, we got a belief, and then we threw away a part that we call selfish. And it's just energy. It's just energy. I better not be like that. So everybody that's, here right now, think about what you might be saying to yourself of, I never want to be like that person, like that quality. Anytime you say, I'll never be like that, or I hate people like that, usually there's a shadow lurking. So we throw away these parts of us and we go, okay, I better not be selfish. I better not be lazy. I better not be angry. I better not be too creative. I better not be too smart. I mean, all these different things we experience, and we throw the baby out with the bathwater. So we go, okay, I better not be like that. I'm going to throw it behind me. I'm never going to look at it, and I'm going to do the opposite. And then what's birthed is people pleasers, good little girls, workaholics, you
Right.
name it.
Difficulty with boundaries, I'm sure that the boundary
Everything.
setting, right?
Exactly. And just to
Mhm.
use the selfish as an example, if you throw a selfish, the energy of selfish, there's nothing bad about it, but the shadowy, icky part of selfishness is something we don't want. We don't want to be that person that only thinks of themselves and just wants only for themselves. But inside the energy of selfishness, to focus on oneself is the ability to say, you know what? My needs matter. I do want this. I have a value. And so we've thrown all of that away. So shadow work helps with practitioners outside shining a light on what's going on, helps you see what you lost access to and helps you get it back in a conscious, healthy way.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, because it is, we put those labels on ourselves and then we need help to explore them, move through them, and realize that there's healing that can be done. Now, I know that a lot of your focus, you mentioned, is on loving relationships and partnerships in a later stage of life. But you also mentioned that you have a love quiz. So tell me more about what the love quiz is about. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, my primary clientele, so to speak, are women in the second half of life that are starting over in love, whether they lost a partner, whether it was divorce, maybe they've never been married, and they've come to this place where they just so want to have that special next level love experience. Maybe they're having an amazing life and they're looking for that cherry on top, where whatever it is, people are desiring healthy, beautiful partnership. And whether it's a partnership in love or the people in your life or even in business, we need to know our love avatar. We need to know, what is our superpower? What are we bringing to the table? And where might we need to do some more work? So I created this quiz, and I love it. It comes with a full report where you discover your love avatar, to find out how relationship ready you are. And yes, it is geared toward women that are looking for partnership. However, there's a lot of information there. And when you take this quiz, it's like a 2-minute quiz, and it's fun, and it helps people really find out what they're bringing to the table, because everybody has a superpower and there are certain blind spots that certain people have. And then you'll learn about some of the challenges, and I give you next steps so that you can actually start to move forward and really claim the second half of life in the way that you so desire, with love, because love is everything. Love is everything. And whether it's loving yourself, loving with a partner, or just connecting with your heart with everybody, this is important. And so that's what the quiz is about.
wonderful. Well, we are going to make sure to have a link to that in the show notes. Along with Junie, the best place to find you, I have your website, midlifeloveoutloud.com. And then I know if people want to connect with you, look for you on YouTube, I'll have that link in the show notes as well. I'm sure there's some wonderful teaching and sharing that you're doing on YouTube at the moment. So that's all
Yes.
good.
Yes, and I have some amazing guests that I've brought on. I do my own, as well as bring in some of the leading experts across across the, all topics, because it's, again, to have a healthy, rich life, we need to have healthy bodies, healthy mindsets,
Absolutely.
and of
Yeah.
course, dating and relationship
Yeah.
advice.
And the growth mindset, just being open to,
Oh my
not everything
God.
is for everybody, but if you can take a little nugget here and a little nugget there. And so on that note, I'd love to ask you, if somebody was just taking away something from listening to us chat today, what would you love that to be?
That it's not your fault that you have these blind spots. In fact, your risk manager that has created the shadows and has had you maybe feel misaligned or not be in the most open place, it's just been trying to keep you safe. It's
Right.
because you are protecting yourself. And how wonderful is that? Now, so, stop beating yourself up about that.
Mhm.
I invite everybody to hopefully take away that you have been created to be the way you are because of your experiences in your life. And as you said, you can rewrite your story, you can shift, you can heal. It's not the end of the story unless you choose it to be the end of the story.
There you go. Yeah. And you do not have to choose that. So, Junie, thanks so much for joining me today and for just sharing some light and love and encouragement with my listeners. So I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank,
Thanks for having me. This was lovely.
thank you. So, for those that are listening, if our conversation has sparked some inspiration for you, I do invite you to share it with somebody else. Share the love, share the words, share the learning with somebody else. And I also encourage you to embrace your unique way of connecting, inspiring, or creating, hence the name of the podcast this week. So let it bring a fresh sense of joy into your world. And who am I? Your host, Carol Clegg. I am a coach for coaches. I am your business mentor and accountability coach. And I love guiding women coaches to taking action. Positive intelligence is the coaching method that I use. So do ask me about my 12-week Flourish and Grow program and master your mindset, elevate your overall happiness, and build some powerful lifelong habits that will help you manage stress and anxiety that all come our way, no matter what it is. So feel free to reach out. I'm here to support you on the journey. And till the next episode, take care.